Um,
What the fuck was that?
hello and welcome to the 12th episode. I think this is the 12th episode of the Long Day's Journey into Film podcast. I'm Russ, with my co-host.
Andy here.
And a
I'm
special
Liam.
guest. I am. There we go. We got another returning OG member, or OG co-host.
Very OG.
Last real episode, we had Dan on here. Now we got fucking Leon back.
It's been like 3 months.
Yeah.
Return of the Kings.
We still need to do that fucking La Dolce Vita episode at some point. Because
fuck.
we said that we were going to do that, and then we just fucking dropped it for like a month, and then we went into the, Hellraiser and stuff with Andy. So like, we need to do that at like episode 20 or some shit.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about The Shining, and The Shining book, and The Shining miniseries, and The Shining documentary, and Dr. Sleep, and maybe a little bit about the Dr. Sleep book. So if you don't want spoilers for any of that, I'd highly recommend go watch The Shining.
Yeah?
Yeah, please watch The Shining.
So
it's kind of an important watch.
It'll all be spoiler discussion. I'll probably say this again later because I'll forget that I said this. But yeah, go check that out. What the fuck am I saying?
Check out a movie that's been in the horror lexicon for 30 years.
Yeah. Real quick, just shout out to Movies and More Discord server. That's an epic server. I've shouted it out before. I'm doing it again. Go check that out. Also, shout out to the Nerds of Film Street server. It's a based server. It's very based.
That's all we need to know.
So check them out too. I'll put links in the descriptions. Also check out the YouTube channel unless you're watching on the YouTube channel and you've already checked it out. And our Letterboxd. So yeah, check those out too because we watch stuff regularly. If you care about what we're watching, I don't think anyone does, but yeah,
well, I'm sure some people only.
Yeah. Oh, little thing. Last episode in quotes, our filler episode where I was drunk as fuck and just swore like every 10 seconds and told everyone to go fuck themselves at one point. I said I changed my Letterboxd rating system to the very revolutionary only 5 ratings, and I changed it back. So I not that it matters, but I turned it into like a big announcement in the last episode. So yeah, that's it. It's back to normal if anyone gave a fuck.
It lasted a good 24 hours.
Yeah, I just couldn't stand it. I need my full ratings, I mean, I can't live without my 1 out of 10,
You love the 1 out of 10.
It's so harsh. I mean, like, I need to reserve that. I can't, like, combine my 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. That's not the
my
same.
1 out of 10 is your 5 out of 10. Or 5. Yeah, 1 out of 10. 10 out of 10 is what I mean.
I don't even think I have a 1-star movie. I have
you have
half a star.
You have Deader.
Yeah, Deader's half a star.
Yeah, fuck
no,
Deader.
wait. Okay, Deader is half a star, and then Revelations is 1 star.
I have like 5 half stars. Like, it's like very rare for me.
I have 40.
I hate a movie. Oh, okay.
And I have 184 2 out of 10. So yeah, fuck all 200.
Fuck liking movies.
Of those in particular. Yeah, I have. All right, just if anybody cares, if anybody's listening to this right away, go check out my 6 out of 10 ratings. I have 666 of them. It's very epic. I didn't mean for it to come out like that. What the fuck am I talking about? All right, yeah, just wanted to point that out. If anyone cared that I changed my Letterboxd rating system, because I think ratings is very important. Some people rate stuff. Some people rate stuff very high. Particular people. Maybe give everything a 10 out of 10.
Imagine rating stuff high, like.
But
I mean,
who could
I feel
that
like
be?
I've been kind of willy-nilly with my fucking 5 out of 10s, but I mean, that's just what I've watched. I watch Kino.
You have like 3 new 10 out of 10s in the past week. Like, damn.
That's too much, Andy.
There's no such thing.
Can't say no to Kino, am I right? I don't know. All right. Should we get on to The Shining? Just get directly into it. Just hop the fuck in.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So starting out, we're going to talk about The Shining from 1980, directed by the one and only Stanley Kubrick, the Kino man.
Who?
My Kino homie from
Kino
another
homo.
I don't know what
Um,
I'm saying.
The Shining. So this is an epic film. I mean, it's
revolutionary.
it's very beloved. That's for sure. I mean, it's considered one of the greatest horror films ever made.
And
The Shining.
is.
It's been my favorite horror film since I've seen it, like over a year ago.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's up there. It's like, I mean, I'll get into how much I like it, but like, it's like top 3 favorites for me. I'd say.
Like when I watched it, I thought that it would eventually like get dethroned, and it never did.
Yeah, it's goated.
Yeah, I mean, it's not top 3 for me personally, but I think it might squeeze into the top 5. Because I got a new top 1. I got a new top 1 recently, so we'll talk about that next week. But
yes,
top 1.
Not gonna give too many hints, but it might also be my top 1 horror movie. So
top 1.
If anybody been paying attention to what my top 1 horror movie is,
that's why you should follow the Letterboxd.
Anyway, The Shining.
I watched this for the first time in a theater. That was epic.
Wow. How was that?
Yeah. Well, you see, I was around 12 years old, and the year was 1980. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go see.
What?
Yeah, like I am 53 years old. You know, I'm turning 54 in a month. Isn't that gonna be cool? Anyway, I about 2 years ago, I think it was. I think exactly 2 years ago. Yeah, it was like on the 27th of 2 years ago. Anyway, that's not the point. It was playing at my local AMC, and it's like, you know what? That's like a classic. That's one where he says, "Here's Johnny." You know, it's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna go see it. And I went and saw it, and I was like, man, I mean, I don't think I fully grasped like what I just watched. I just thought it was like really cool at the time, and like then like a year later, I rewatched it, and I started to really love it. And just in the past week, I watched it 3 times in the past like week and a half. I don't know why I watched it so many times, but like I really love it. But yeah, seeing it in the theater for the first time was great. And
dude, that's crazy. I envy you for that. It's like one of my dreams.
Yeah, it's great on the big screen. That's for sure. Any Kubrick movie is.
I bet. 2001
maybe.
I don't have like any fucking older film that I've seen in theaters.
Dude, I've never seen like a old film in theaters because none of my like local mainstream theaters play fucking old movies.
Fucking normie theaters.
Yeah. I had a chance to see Spirited Away, but I was sick that fucking day.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, I see The Shining, The Shawshank Redemption, and last week I talked about I saw some horror movies in a drive-in last week. Like
dude, that must have been such a cool experience.
I did not see Nightmare on Elm Street last week. I don't know why I keep saying that. I said it last.
But the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like that must have been so cool.
Texas Chainsaw and The Thing were so fucking awesome on the screen. So were Child's Play and Friday the 13th, but like I don't really love either of those. But like yeah, fucking Texas Chainsaw on the big screen is just great.
That's a dream of mine.
But we're not here to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We're here to talk about the Shining.
The Shannon.
Shining.
Shit, I was gonna watch that Simpson episode, The Shinning.
The shitting.
I didn't know there's a shitting. I mean, fucking Simpsons episode.
Yeah, it was like the Halloween special or some shit. It was called The Shinning. Yeah, it's like the whole
That's
thing.
Hot.
I wanted to see it, but like fuck, I wanted to see the behind the scenes too, but I just got lazy as fuck. Even though I had that.
Behind the scenes is so interesting. Like we should talk about that a little bit.
Quite a bit of the behind the scenes. I didn't take any fucking notes on the music part. Oh, I don't know why.
So about the actual movie. So where do we start?
Oh yeah, we should talk about the movie.
Start. Like this film is essentially about the perils of isolation.
Yes.
I don't know if I said that
right on.
What's the plot description? Andy, give us one of your signature plot descriptions.
The Shining is about a potentially unstable man that goes mental in a hotel
Now, it is
alone with
debatable
his
whether he was
family.
already unstable or if he became unstable in the
Yes,
hotel.
that's why I
Yes.
said potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially unstable man tries to kill his family after spending a few months in a hotel alone.
And so it's no social interaction does to a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean,
COVID
especially in a
lockdown be like,
haunted hotel, because the
What happened,
hotel
like,
is haunted.
it's
But it's
debatable.
not like
There's a lot up to
it's
interpretation here.
it's
Yeah,
not
Especially more than
especially
the book,
really.
which I'm not going to lean too much into the book comparisons. I'll get to that when I talk about the book. But like, just real quick, like in the book, actually no, in this I think it's a lot more up to interpretation of what the fuck is actually going on, which is really interesting, and I think it actually makes it pretty creepy for me, compared to the book, where the book is like a straightforward, like it's like a haunted house basically.
I don't.
yeah.
It's not a
Well, the
typical
book's a
haunted
book,
house
so and
though.
there's more
Yeah.
room
The
for
film
explanation.
is very different from the book, and that's like one of the big. I don't want to say big, but like point. What the fuck is the word I'm looking for? Criticisms? Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, they're both
The movie is
very
different from
different.
the book.
Very different
And
things. You know, they're
Stephen King did not like the fucking
I
movie
think
when it came
Stephen
out.
King's criticisms of the movie are valid, but I think Stephen King is the only human being that's allowed to dislike The Shining.
but then he went and made that fucking miniseries, which
Okay,
I'll
yeah,
get
that's fuck Stephen King for that. But
I
like,
mean, didn't he come around on The Shining though? I swear, he's like come
I
around
think
to
he
it later.
did. I think
maybe
he
like,
said after Doctor Sleep came out, didn't he? He said like that kind of made him like The Shining more. Well, we'll get to all that. So with The Shining, I don't want to do like the thing where we break down the plot bit for bit, but like that opening scene, like damn son, like that's a good
oh,
fucking
that
opening scene. It's foreboding as fuck, you know.
the camera work is so incredible.
Yeah, with the fucking music,
The length, yeah. What's it
yeah.
called? Like some religious song? Or,
I don't know what the fuck the song is.
it's called Lux
Actually,
something.
Let's
fuck, I
turn it.
need to remember her
No,
name. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some googling while y'all potentially
Wendy
talk about it.
Carlos.
Yeah, Wendy Carlos.
Yeah, she also did the music for Clockwork Orange and Tron. So
Yes,
shout out Tron, I guess. I don't know.
she was. She's known for. She's one of the most important composers living today, arguably, because she helped fucking. She helped in the development of the Moog synthesizer. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's the first commercially available keyboard instrument.
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Interesting.
me neither.
But yeah, I love the music in this.
Yeah,
Great music, very memorable.
and the thing is, like, as like Kubrick kind of relies on like sound effects as music. It's not like standard music.
Yeah, you know, like
Like
sorry,
not in the opening scene, like in later scenes, like to convey tension.
yeah,
I mean,
like
there's
there's
a lot of silence in there too.
Yeah,
all the sound design in this is great as well. Like I mean, like the great part when Danny is he's riding around on his tricycle in the Overlook Hotel, and he's like going over the rugs, and
yeah,
and like it'll be like silent, and then you'll hear it going. I don't know, just something about it. It's like even though it's
that
not
stood out
really
to me. Yeah,
like even though it's not anything creepy is really happening, it just gives like a atmosphere to it. Also,
And the
there's
way
that great. Oh,
the film is shot, because it's shot on wide, fucking, is it wide angle lenses?
because Kubrick has like customizable
Yeah,
lenses or something.
Kubrick
yeah,
is a fan of the wide angle lenses, and
And
the way The Shining was shot with the fucking lenses puts everything into like
it's
I
very
don't know.
trippy.
yeah, it's like a immaculately shot, just like every Kubrick film, basically. I mean,
Yeah, he plays with perspective, and it's very cool.
and like this was also one of the. It wasn't one of the first films, but like it was one of the first films to they use Steadicam with it, and they something about the like low shot, like when they were going around with following Danny on the tricycle. Like something like they invented something. I'm not really sure about the history of it, but something about like the low shot. There was like an innovation there with the Steadicam.
That actually goes with the wide angle lenses thing, because like with the wide angle lenses, you kind of have to shoot like back a little bit and closer to the floor to get everything in the right sort of view, so it doesn't look all distorted. Because if you shoot up high, the background gets a little distorted, or like looks weird. Imagery wise, I just remember that little tidbit from the BTS. But
Why is my stopwatch at 10 hours? What the fuck? All right.
I was also gonna mention a fun fact: Wendy Carlos is a transgender. Well,
Oh.
is
I know that.
trans. I did not know that until like fucking yesterday. So not only was she vital in I am off tonight. Fuck.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is. I didn't know that.
But I heard
But
that
I
you know how
mean-
like Oh,
I was gonna say not only is she vital into synthesizer, she's like an openly trans woman that was popular in making music in the fucking 60s and 70s, which you don't
Yeah.
really hear about often at all.
no, that's pretty revolutionary.
Yeah.
But something more else I was going to say about the score, like you said, how it uses the sounds. There's a part like when it like cuts to, we'll get into the plot more because we're really not, we're just talking about technical elements. But yeah, fuck it. There's a part where it cuts to like the typewriter, and you hear like a noise. It's like I don't know what's the sound, like a bumping noise or whatever, and like it sounds like it's the score, and then it zooms out and it's Jack, the main character, Jack. If you haven't seen this movie, go fucking watch it. You should know who Jack is. Jack's like he's throwing a ball against the wall because he's like bored, or like he's I don't know, he's not typing, and like it's interesting because it's like, to me at least, when I rewatched it earlier this week, it's like it sounded like it was a score coming in, but it was actually like a sound effect. I don't know, something about that was really
I've never
interesting.
noticed that.
Yeah. Also, there's a part in like the whole like third act when the movie gets very tense. There's like a heartbeat sound, or like a kind of also sounds like a windshield wiper. It's like an interesting part of the score. That's just really I don't know what the right word is. It's just really interesting. It gives it a very eerie feel. Maybe the windshield ties in because the guy's driving to the hotel in the storm. No.
You're making me realize I need to pay attention to the fucking score more than I did. And I've seen this movie like at least half a dozen times by now. Because the first time I ever saw it, I watched it immediately again.
Yeah, it's one of those. Really
Yeah,
is.
for
That
sure.
last
There's
shot,
there's
we'll get to
something
that.
new to pick out every time you rewatch the film.
Yeah, because the score definitely stood out to me more like the second time I watched it, like a week ago.
Yeah, the thing is, like, about scores, like a lot of movies, they just blend into the background, and I can't even remember what they sound like because they just blend in. And so it's really interesting, like, when I actually notice the score, because obviously
it's
it's
so
just good
effective
filmmaking.
here.
But yeah,
Like-
it's very and like you said, there is parts where there's no score at all. It's just silence, which is also very effective. And I think that's something that's really great in films when they, it's more restrained when they don't use the score. Sometimes it's more effective than using a score, which.
But now movies, like horror movies nowadays, you utilize like these like high pitched sound effects whenever
Yeah.
there's like a tense scene. I heard somewhere that like The Shining kind of started that.
Yeah, there's like the like cuts. Some scenes it'll just cut, and it'll be like a kind of a sharp sound, I guess, and it'll say like the day. It'll say like Wednesday or like Tuesday or something, or like later in the film it's saying it'll be like 8 or 8 a.m. or and then like 5.
It gets more
PM.
specific.
Which is really interesting because it's like it starts out it's saying like the interview where like Jack is being interviewed by what's his name, Allman.
Stuart Ullman.
Allman.
Ullman.
Anyway, he's being interviewed as this like the interview, and then it like cuts to like a closing day. Then it goes to the days of the week, and then it goes to like the hours, which it almost feels like it's like
It's like
Ramping
closing
up.
in on them.
it's getting closer. It's building up to something, which I think is really great.
Like,
I didn't
the
even really.
more
It
Jack
really conveys a sort of
loses
feeling.
his sanity, the like tighter in it focuses it on the time.
Yeah, and it's like,
Mhm.
but yeah, sometimes there'll be a cut, and it's almost not a jump scare, but it's like sometimes it'll kind of make you jump. How it just cuts and there's this sound, and it cuts to the day. I really like that about it.
Yeah, 'cause it's a very like the scene kind of sucks you in, and then all of a sudden just like abruptly cuts away, and you're like, oh, you're kind of awoken from your trance.
Yeah.
Speaking of trances, The Shining, the fucking namesake of the movie, is this telepathic kind of power, I guess you could describe it, that Jack's son Danny has,
Yeah. Yeah. He's like.
which becomes a
Psychic?
focal point of the movie. And it's
Mm.
kind of also alluded that Jack may or may not have The Shining, I think, also.
Yeah.
Hmm? Really?
Because that's what drove him crazy in some insinuations.
Yeah, because there's that early scene when Danny, the boy. Do I need to really describe the characters? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like if I just say a character, whatever. Danny is talking to what the fuck is his name? Dick Halloran,
Dick
the
Halloran.
cook guy.
Yeah.
Who I really love Scatman Carruthers in this. Yeah, I think he plays uh, Dick very well.
Yeah, great performance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that fucking scene at the table.
Also, Danny's great. I just want to. All right, just real quick. Everyone in this movie is fucking great. I mean, obviously Kubrick. He works his actors, to the bone. Is that the expression? Like some scenes. Apparently, they did like 126 takes in the scene later in the film, and
Oh yeah.
so all the performances are great. And it's just like so. I don't
I
know something
find
about it.
I
Seeing like the actor of Danny, Danny Lloyd. He's like he's a really good kid actor, and um, I think kid actors can make or break something sometimes because it's like people say like, oh, they're a kid, who cares? But like, and a lot of times movies use like, oh, it's like the cute kid, just like the little cute kid running around and like it's supposed to make it tense or something because something bad might happen to him. But like in this, he is kind of like that, but he's also a really good actor,
and he
You know,
which is
only
great.
really did The Shining.
yeah, that's all he did. Now
But
he's like a bio teacher, like a
I
college.
found it interesting that I don't remember what behind the scenes footage it was, but were talking about how like everyone really respected Danny on the set because of the way he like worked. Thought that's really interesting because he's a kid.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, I
and
read that
and
he's
like
like no,
Kubrick, and I know he got along with Kubrick well
hmm.
Apparently, he
because
didn't know that he was filming a horror movie.
Which is odd. There's some of the scenes when he's like.
It's very
Like the
clear. Like,
yeah, like
he's
I
like
don't know
doing
how
like
he
the
wouldn't.
face where he's like scared, like the Home Alone face, and he's like,
Yeah,
"What? What are you starring
or
in?"
like the scenes later when like Jack's chasing him with an axe and he's like running for his life and
Like,
like
that's a comedy.
yeah they're shooting a wholesome like family drama. I mean it is a family drama, but it's not very
Yeah,
wholesome.
because he saw like
Um,
after the movie was released, he saw like a cut version or something, and he didn't like know what the movie was until he was like a teenager. I read that somewhere.
yeah, and then
uh
fucking like Jacob Tremblay and Doctor
he
Sleep.
actually pops up in Doctor Sleep, the actor that plays Danny
yeah, he's at the
at
baseball
the
game.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Anyway, back to the scene with Danny and Dick.
Dick, Dick,
Dick.
Uh,
penis.
penis. Yeah, he's Dick describes The Shining to him. Like I think it's a kind of it's like an exposition scene. He's like basically talking to the audience and describing what The Shining is. But I think it's done well because like he's trying to communicate, to Danny in saying it in the most simplest way possible what's going on, like why he might see these horrific things he'll see in the Overlook.
I mean, that's actually one of the scenes taken from the book. So
Yeah, yeah, and he describes it as like some people have this power to see things that might happen in the future or have already happened, right? Or and like kind of read people's thoughts and stuff, which is expanded upon way more in the book. It's a way bigger element of it, I think. But and he also says like some places kind of have it. It's like supposedly the Overlook Hotel kind of has The Shining, which I think is interesting because like I don't really know how I feel about that with like the way I see the movie, because like I don't really know how to feel about where the supernatural stuff in the film comes in and where it's just kind of the characters like losing their minds, because I think there is kind of a bit of both, because like how do you guys see the film? Because like I don't really know. I don't see it being straightforward. I don't think it's just there's ghosts in the hotel and they make Jack go nuts and do a bad thing, and it's over. I don't think that's what it is, because that's what the book is. The book is a very straightforward, like haunting type tale. When the film, I think Kubrick's going for something deeper.
I don't think it's. I don't want to say like fucking ghost, but I've always liked to think that the hotel in general was a sinister place, not because of the hotel itself, but of the things that inhabit the hotel.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of hinted into.
Things don't what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I would just say make themselves known in unique ways. Unlike it's a very different kind of haunted house film, if you will. I know some people don't like the haunted house explanation, but I feel it kind of works to explain what you're talking about, if that makes sense. Because Danny has The Shining, and he's seeing these things around the hotel that no one else can really see, because it's never alluded that until like later on in the film. Actually, this just got me thinking. The only two people who really see anything that go on in the hotel are Jack and Danny.
Wendy sees things towards the end.
Sees it at the end.
Yeah,
she sees the dog.
That's where I was going
and she sees the butler.
Wendy sees things
and she
towards
sees
the end.
She sees the skeletons in the ballroom and the blood in the elevator, which is interesting. I think it's interesting that the only like shared vision or weird thing that two of the same characters see is the bloody elevator, which is like the iconic shot of the blood coming out of the elevator.
And Danny has that vision at the beginning, and Wendy actually sees it in person. So
which is interesting, because I don't really. Anyway, sorry. Back to what you were saying, Andy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. I guess I just realized that Wendy only sees the stuff towards the end of the movie, because she's also kind of losing her mind, because she's being chased by her now murderous husband trying to protect her fucking child. So like she's able to let the hotel in, and it's her guard is not there anymore. So like
I think I know.
The hotel is seeping in, and that's how she's able to see all this shit that's going down. And she's like, I need to get my son out of here.
That makes sense. I like how the hotel is kind of like treated like a character in the story.
Yeah.
As like an antagonist, which is kind of like corrupting.
Silence.
It's kind of its own character in a way, which is I really like that about it. It's like just whole film is very fuck. It's very atmospheric, which I love. I love that in films, and especially horror movies, because like the there's not a lot of like scare scenes in it. It's more psychological than that. I mean, there are some scenes that are like Danny's visions, like obviously the iconic the twins with the "Come play with us, Danny."
Come play with us
forever and ever. I don't know why I'm doing that voice, but and then there's a scene with like the room 237 scene, which I think is fucking great, with the old woman,
especially the young woman.
A lot of people like that scene, but I honestly kind of like the twins better, because it's so just blunt with its morbidness. Because like when he sees the twins, then it like flashes,
and then they're like hacked down,
their fucking mutilated bodies on the floor and blood everywhere.
Man, I love really that part. Creepy.
Yeah, I love in that part. He just comes around the corner, and like also when he's riding around on his tricycle, and he's going over the things, and he keeps turning corners. You keep thinking you're going to see something there, and then he finally does. He sees the twins. Then they're saying, "Come play with us forever," and then it cuts, and you see them, their bloody corpses, and then it like cuts back, and it's closer. That's just like such a great like technical thing. Like every time they say it and it cuts, it gets closer and closer. It just feels like they're coming towards you, even though they're like not. I don't know, something about it is really fucking creepy. But yeah, there's also in the room 237 scene, which it's different than in the book. In the book, I don't think Jack ever actually goes into the room.
No, he does.
I might be wrong.
No, he does.
Doesn't he go like outside of it?
He goes in the bathroom, but what happens in there?
He goes in and then leaves. He sees
the girl doesn't like go up to him and like
No, there's none of the like
he sees
hot
the
young
girl and he sees like the dead woman in the tub and he just gets the fuck out.
No, I think he goes in, he looks around, there's nothing there, and then as he's going out, he hears someone get out of the tub, and then he just fucking books it.
Yeah,
he never
that's
actually sees it, and he doesn't interact with them. He doesn't see the old woman.
I think he
which
sees
is really
the dead woman in the tub.
I don't remember. I might be wrong, but I don't think he did. I think he like senses there's something there, and then he fucking yeets out of there. But I love the practical effects on the old woman. It's so creepy. It's very gross, like how she's
like
like
her
all
face and
rotted,
she's like
and
laughing.
Yeah, and it like cuts to like her in the tub, like getting out. It's just fucking creepy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't have a lot of scares. Like the film, it's very restrained in a way. It's more about the atmosphere and the psychological of like the characters and like where the film is going.
And the slow building tension.
I mean, it doesn't have a lot of scares, but I would say that it's one of the few films to ever like genuinely scare me, which is saying something. You don't need scary images to like convey true fear.
You definitely do not.
That's what's so great about like old horror. It's just man.
I think Possession does a good job of that, but I shouldn't know too much on that.
Yeah, but like but like it's like yeah, the whole film it's like building up, and then even in the third act, it doesn't even though there are like creepy images like you said when Wendy is seeing the various things, it never. Yeah, it doesn't rely on that to be what's scary. It's not like, all right, the scary thing in the movie is there's a ghost that's going to pop out and scare you. Like, that's not what it is at all.
All the scary images have meaning.
Like, the last image, when it zooms in onto the photo after it zooms in and you see Jack in the photo from 1922, I think? Like, that's fucking terrifying.
Scene is so creepy.
Yeah, it's like...
And with, like, the music, the Midnight, the Stars and You song, that's fucking...
Yeah.
That's such a... I can't listen to that song without, like... being creeped out.
I want to talk about the bar scene.
Oh man, fucking love the bar scene. This has so many great scenes, but that's probably my favorite.
I
it's such a quotable scene.
The bathroom scene, which is led into from the bar scene.
The bathroom scene with Grady is such a masterful scene.
The bathroom scene because. The bathroom is so lavish and unique, and that's kind of like a
with Grady, not with the old woman, right?
No, Grady. Yeah, and like the way the shots cut from like behind Jack to then behind Grady to like it's
so
like
sudden. The slowest scene in the movie, actually.
Yeah, and it's so like enthralling
because it just settles on them two for the longest amount of time.
It gets under your skin, your skin.
What I love about it is how Grady, wait, what the fuck? Hold on, I have a note.
Grady's delivery is so good. Like, I corrected them or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
like, the way he just says that, it's
Delbert Grady. That's the fucking thing. So there's this weird thing.
But then Ullman calls him what? Like Stuart Ullman? No, not fuck.
What's Charles Grady?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? We'll get. I want to talk about that more. I want to talk about the whole interview scene in a bit. Anyway, back to the bathroom scene when he's talking to Delbert Grady. It starts out he's being, he like spills a drink on him, and he's in like the whole bar or whole ball, and there's like all the people in the room, and it's from the 20s. Quick little trivia: Kubrick told all the people there to when they're like having their conversations with each other to like. Pretend to have a conversation, not actually say anything, because in the 20s when they do that, that's how they would do it. And so he wanted it to be like Jack walked into a whole other era, which I think is fucking cool. But Grady, he spills. What the fuck does he spill on him? Some kind of yellow shit.
A drink.
Yeah. Anyway. And then they go into the bathroom, and like he's being really like polite and I don't know what's the word, jovial. I'm not sure if jovial is the right word.
Kind of progressively more disturbing,
and they're having a kind of nice banter back and forth, and then it just gets more and more ominous and dark, and like you said, it's going back between them, and then it like cuts to like a closer when it's really dark, and they're like it's very
right
tense.
When Grady reveals his identity, that's when shit starts getting fucking disturbing. It's like Jack's like.
It's like, didn't you like fucking kill your kids and blow your head out?
Did you like axe down your family?
He like essentially coerces Jack into taking on the position of the hotel caretaker.
And I don't know what Grady symbolizes because he's also the one that lets Jack out of the storeroom, which is a controversial scene. It's like, how did Jack get out of there if the ghosts aren't real?
He says, "Fucking, you're the
He's
caretaker.
great.
You've always been the caretaker." No,
Crazy?
no, sir. I've always been here. Yeah, fucking love that line. So creepy.
I would know, sir. I love
Yeah.
his accent. Like it's like a mixture. It's like the old like 1920s accent, which is like a mixture between like British and American. Like I don't.
British.
It's so
American?
English.
Tuesday.
Anyway, and that's interesting how that the "You've always been here" kind of ties into the last image of the film with him at the party. Some people say it's like, fuck, not to get directly into the fucking billion interpretations of The Shining and all the conspiracy theories, but should we just talk about this one a little bit? A little bit?
As long as it's not the moon landing one.
No, oh yeah, I mean, how fucking,
Fuck
this
that
is a
one.
confession. This is a confession from Kubrick.
Honestly.
You know, because like, you know, room 237 and the moon is 237,000 miles away from Earth.
Oh, and then don't forget Danny was wearing the Apollo 11 sweatshirt. Oh my god.
That's a dead giveaway. That's a dead giveaway. You know the scene when Jack's like, have you ever given a single moment's thought to my responsibilities? I signed a contract. When he's saying that to Wendy, that's him. You know, Jack is Kubrick, and he's talking about the moon landing. I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious if you watch it through that lens. I'll talk about more about that when I talk about.
And then Jack, it has an A in it, and then like Apollo starts with A. So like,
oh man, you know, my favorite conspiracy is how if you look at all the numbers, the way it adds up to 43. Oh, I'll talk about this more in the room 237 discussion in a bit. Because it's fucking bullshit. Some of the stuff they come up with, it's hilarious.
I'm gonna bother with for 237.
It's funny. It's really, and I'll get to it. But yeah. So the idea or the interpretation is like, that Jack was like reincarnated, like him at the ball was like.
I did hear about that. I was like
him as like the caretaker, as like in an earlier life, and like I think the interpretation was supposed to be like, he was Charles Grady who like killed his family, and now he's Jack. I don't really know how I feel about that. I don't see how that ties in thematically with everything else going on, and I just don't see what that means. I mean, maybe it's like you can give that as like an explanation.
Wait, but so if Grady was in the 20s but Ullman hired Grady, like
when was Grady? When did he kill his family?
Well, apparently it wasn't like it was in Stuart Ullman's timeline, but like in the ballroom is in the 1920s, and his name is like. So was that like Grady's like like there was another conspiracy that said like Delbert was like Grady's grandfather or something. But if he's the one that killed his like family, then it couldn't have been like Charles.
Well, I don't think Delbert Grady, the guy in the 20s. I don't think that was one that killed his family. When did Charles Grady, the guy Ullman talks about at the beginning?
That was only like a few years prior.
Exactly. That wasn't a long time ago. So like I don't see why it would be if Jack was reincarnated from Charles Grady who killed his family to Jack. If it was only a few years ago, I don't see what that means. I don't understand why that would tie in.
But it was him that killed his family though, so
yeah,
it's weird
more
that like
as like the hotel went from Grady to Jack. If that makes sense.
Also, there's the thing. People say it's like there's two versions of Jack and there's two versions of Grady. One of them is will always be part of the hotel, who is like it took part of them and that part is there, and the other part of them, you know, like it's always been there. Like when Grady says it, like I've always been here and you've always been here as a caretaker, and like that's why he's in the Jack is in the picture. It's like there's two versions. There's like part of it belongs to the hotel now that they're there. Then the other part is like them who makes the decision if that part of them will continue to stay and like kill their family and like give in to the hotel, which is like Grady did, and I guess Jack does at the end as well. Which I don't really know. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's an interesting idea, but like I don't really know how I feel about that because like I don't really take a lot of the supernatural stuff like literally, or like I don't really see it as all real.
Yeah, because that would be giving into the supernatural, and I think it's much more than that.
Yeah,
because it's an interesting theory.
Yeah. It's not so out there like some of them are.
No, it makes sense.
Like the Native American genocide.
Yeah, it's about the
that
Holocaust.
One makes sense, kind of though, but like it's kind of it's far fetched.
I thought that one was ridiculous at first, but then I learned like the hotel is supposed to be built on like ancient.
I mean, yeah, because
Yeah,
Ullman
and
says that he was
materials,
like
yeah.
they had to
Yeah, it was.
repel like Native American attacks or
Yeah, and like it was built on a graveyard, and like that's kind of a. I might be wrong about this, but that's kind of like a cliche, like the old "oh, it's built on a Native American
Yeah,
burial." I've seen that and stuff,
I
and
don't
it's like
like
that's why it's
that.
haunted.
I feel like it's Kubrick wouldn't
like,
do something like that.
yeah, I don't.
That's more of a Stephen King idea than a Kubrick idea.
Stephen King would do that.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I don't see this film. Um. So like in the book, it's kind of a Stephen King thing. I haven't read that much Stephen King. I've only read The Shining, which is great, by the way. I fucking love the book. But in the book, the like evil of the film, it comes from like outside forces of like whether it's ghosts or monsters or demons. I think that's a theme throughout King's work. Like I said, I'm not, I don't know too much about stuff, but like it kind of comes from an outside force affecting the characters. Like in the book, the hotel is manipulating Jack through his alcoholism, which he's really struggling with. He's trying to pull his life together. He's trying to make his family good, or he's trying to do good for his family. And they use that to manipulate him into their own. What's the word? They're like using him. They're manipulating him to get him to do this bad thing and kill his family. Where like in this, I think it's more of the evil of the film comes from from the people, or like from inside Jack, or like inside the people. I don't think it's like a outside thing, because like that's something that's really it's in a lot of Kubrick's work, like especially like A Clockwork Orange, which that's the whole point of it, is like kind of the like
it's like a study of evil.
Yeah, and like same like maybe a little bit about like Full Metal Jacket as well. I'm sure there's more about his other films, but like I'm not going to go into a whole dissection of Kubrick's filmography. But like I don't think it's very Kubrick-esque. I'm losing it. I don't think it's very Kubrick-esque to have the like evil or the I don't know.
I see where you're
bad
going
part of the
with
film
it.
coming from an outside source of the hotel's making Jack do it. I think it's
and that's why
definitely
King
more
didn't
from,
like it. That's
yeah, exactly, because it's like in the book, it's very personal to King, Stephen King, because apparently he dealt with a lot of problems with alcoholism, and so
he
the book's
didn't like
very
his
personal
children.
to him. Yeah, yeah, he
Really,
killed his
like,
family with an axe.
the
Yeah.
isolationism, I mean, like the isolation that they experienced in the hotel drove the entire family mad. You could probably
Exactly.
argue.
That's what I
Well,
think is really interesting. You can say it's just the entire film. There's nothing supernatural, except for the thing with The Shining, because like Dick does explain to Danny, but like you can say, like I heard an interpretation. It's like I don't know, something I don't know too much about, but it's like Wendy like kind of dreamt up the whole Shining thing, and like that's not actually real.
That was a weird theory, like the Wendy
There's also
theory.
there's also the whole thing about that the entire film is like Jack is sexually abusing Danny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like everything, all the visions and stuff, that's completely like in their minds. Like the apparently it's like in the scene, even without this theory, I still think the scene is like sinister as fuck. When Danny goes up to his room to get his toy, and like Jack is sitting on the bed, and he's like, "Here, come over here," and he's like, sitting on his lap, and he's talking to him. It's just creepy as fuck, even. But it's like the theory is like after that he like I don't know, like molests him or whatever, and then like and like he like he's the one who leaves the bruises on his or the bruise marks on his neck. That's like part of it, and then like the whole thing with the woman in the room, like Danny just like dreamed that to like repress something or like whatever. And like, but like, I don't see all of that being like just in their minds. I feel like there's a level of like the supernatural and the what's really real and what's not real is like combined in this film to make it really kind of hard to like put your finger on what's actually happening, which I really love in horror. Like I talked about last episode or the Possession episode, why I love that film so much is like there's just so much there that like you can't pinpoint a single interpretation of it, but like any interpretation of it seems completely valid. And I think the same goes for this film. There's like any way you read the film. I mean, some of the interpretations I think are bullshit, but like there's so many ways to read the film, and like there's not a clear answer. It's not like no. If you look at if you look to the left in this scene, you see something that like you know what I mean.
there's
Yeah.
no way to say like this film is completely supernatural or this film is completely like real or something, because you'll always find yourself contradicting yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, oh, they all dreamed, like it was all visions or whatever. But if it was all visions, how did Jack like exit the storeroom? Or like, you
How
always
do you leave
find
the
like,
storeroom? What's the Shining? What is the what's the last image of the film? That type of thing. Or like if it's completely supernatural, like
well, if it's completely supernatural, then just
I think that
it
goes
feels
against
like
what
there should be
Kubrick was
something
going for.
more. Yeah, it feels like there should be something more.
Yeah.
We both.
There is the theory that Danny let Jack out of the pantry or the storeroom closet thing. Well, he was like, because he's kind of like in a trance. He's like almost seems like possessed by Tony, the little boy in his mouth. Red rum.
That was
Which
such
is
a creepy scene.
Yeah, when he's writing it on the thing. I watched this with my sister the other night, and like she's never seen it before, and like when it cuts to Wendy looking in the mirror as his murder, she's like, oh man, she was trying to figure out what the fuck red rum meant.
Yeah, it's a startling scene.
Yeah, I love the whole way the whole third act goes down.
How
It's just
Kubrick
like pops
uses
off.
mirrors. Actually, there was a thing with like mirrors. What was that thing?
Yes.
Like Jack, whenever like
I wrote this down. Yeah, hold up, let me see. Yeah, so apparently it's every time Jack sees like a ghost or like a vision of a fucking something supernatural, he's near a mirror.
yeah.
Like when
In the bar, there's a mirror.
Yeah, there's in the bar there's a mirror. When they're in the bathroom, obviously with Grady, there's a mirror.
Mhm.
When he's in the pantry, he's talking to Grady, but he doesn't actually see him, and there's no
There's
mirror
this
in that scene.
reflection. There's this reflection, like the glass door.
Yeah. Also, there's the something interesting enough when Jack the first the first shot of Jack in the hotel after everyone's left, and it's like it cuts like 1 month later after the like closing day. The first shot you see of Jack is in a mirror when he like wakes up and Wendy's bringing him breakfast. So I think that's kind of interesting. If you're
Yeah.
Also like after Jack, let's see, Wendy accuses Jack of trying or like doing leaving the bruises on Danny. She's like, how could you or whatever, and he's like walking to the bar, the empty bar, and like every time he passes a mirror, he kind of like I don't know what the word for it is. He like throws his fist in the air. It's like like he's mad, and like every time he does that, he's passing a mirror. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know why. It's like the theory would be like every time he sees a ghost. Oh, sorry, but like every time he sees a ghost, it's actually like it's like a reflection of himself, like something inside his mind. Like I think that's how the theory goes. So that's kind of interesting.
I was going to say, we forgot to mention that the hotel itself, the layout of the hotel, doesn't make sense.
Which I think is creepy if it were like it's like changing and stuff, because like
it gives
definitely
a
intentional.
level to the whole idea that the house is an entity itself.
Because of how much a perfectionist Kubrick is, like it has to be intentional.
Like, cause there's a window in Ullman's office that
it doesn't lead to anywhere. Yeah. Or like people say like like where the fuck is the ballroom? Because it's like at several points they go to it. Like when Wendy goes to it when she's at the end when she's looking for Danny. Then when they go to it at the beginning, and it's like somehow in the layout of the hotel, it's like where the fuck is it? I think that's just creepy as fuck. Even if it's not, maybe it's like a just something people are reading into too much about all the layout plans or whatever. But like I think that's kind of creepy if it's like the hotel is like it's ever changing thing.
Definitely intentional, because it kind of coincides with the whole maze.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite shots of the film is when you see Danny and Wendy. They're like going through the maze, playing in it, and like Jack's looking at the miniature of it.
Man,
and it's the overhead shot. Oh, I fucking love that. And like,
and it's like a miniature. And then, they did like put like a cutout of them, and like they made it move for some reason. I don't know how. I
thought it was like they had like a cutout or like a miniature of the maze. Then they put the shot of like just that little middle part of them walking. I think that's how they did. But yeah,
that's what they did.
Yeah.
Kubrick's great with miniatures. Like in 2001, how he has like the people in the one of the spaceships or something. I forget, but it's like he has people in it. It looks so good. Like all the miniatures in like 2001 are fucking amazing.
And I think the hedge maze is a much better like decision than like because Kubrick like replaced the hedge animals from the book and the miniseries with the hedge maze, and the hedge animals are like kind of fucking stupid. Like
yeah, like in the book, I do think I have some problems with the book. I'll get to that when I talk about it. But in the miniseries, the fucking hedge animals, the CGI is fucking terrible.
And that's the
It's
thing. Like
horrible.
some things in
So
the
bad.
book work in the book, but aren't adaptable to the big screen.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, because like in
that's
the
why
book there is no
Kubrick
maze.
changed.
The maze
Yeah.
is an excellent addition, and like I was,
And it means
I'm just
something
sitting here
too.
thinking like the end of the film is Jack is chasing Danny throughout the maze, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Danny gets the upper hand on Jack because Danny starts to move backwards, like his footsteps.
Yeah.
And like I'm not sure exactly where I'm going with this, but like I guess it could also be like a metaphor, especially with the snow on top of it.
Mm.
Like the snow being a feature that helps Jack find Danny.
But he also like loses him from that.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, and like people always say like people in horror movies are stupid as fuck and always make bad decisions. Like Danny's really fucking smart in this movie. Like that was a good, like the backwards.
He's like
walking.
5 years old, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking
I
big
would have never
brain.
thought of that.
Well, one thing I gotta say, it's literally like my only problem with the entire film, and it doesn't. I don't take points off or anything for it. The shot of Jack after he freezes to death in the maze, which is such a crucial thing, is Jack being lost in the maze and freezing to death and dying.
Oh yeah, it's a
It looks
continuity.
goofy as fuck. I'm sorry, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know
is a
why
stupid
Kubrick chose him to like be sitting there with like his eyes like roll backwards on his teeth and it just cuts to. It's so stupid. I mean, that shot is cheesy.
The cut is comedic. There's like a boom, and it just cuts to that. Like
it's like a
YouTube boom sound effect. Like,
yeah, that's like I don't know why that part's so goofy, and like the rest of that is like literally my only problem with the entire film. I think is like other than that, I think it's flawless. But like that particular shot, like one of the most crucial parts of the entire film is like it's just so stupid. It's like looks like something out of like a slapstick movie or something. I don't know. Just
yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I think it's a funny shot.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah,
and it's not supposed to be funny.
No, I mean,
but
unless it's like I don't know, some kind of Kubrick was
I
playing
never,
with your mind and
I
fucking.
know like the exteriors and interiors of the hotel were like are two different places, but like where the fuck is the maze at? Because when they're driving up, you don't like see the fucking maze on that frontal shot of the
You
hotel.
see it when they're like walking around when Almond.
Yeah.
I keep saying Almond, but it's
There's
Almond.
like a tracking shot
So
where he
you were like, but there's a shot in towards the beginning of the film where you see the entire front of the hotel.
It's in the
And
back though. It's like the front, but it's in like behind the hotel.
But I always thought the maze was in front of the hotel because that makes more sense to me.
Makes
Well,
really
you see
sense,
it
'cause
when
that's where the parking lot is and everything.
Yeah, because like when you see the at the end when Wendy runs out of the hotel looking for Danny, and like it's just like right across there, right? Because like Danny comes out of the maze and they jump in the what the fuck is it called?
Yeah, because then the bathroom window from their quarters is giving to the back of the hotel, and then he jumps out of there and he runs directly to the maze. Like it's a one shot, so we see where the maze is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just find it interesting that the maze is never explicitly shown in the same shot as the rest of the hotel.
It kind of is. I mean, there's that whole. I actually really love that. Like, it's the closing day sequence. When Almond is showing around the hotel, you see it there. They like walk across from it, and they're walking, and you know that if you notice that the way they're walking, the pattern, or the like way they're spaced apart, it's exactly like the Beatles on the cover of Abbey Road. And if you watch, hear me out. This is true. This is real shit. My third eye is open after hearing this. If you watch the Shining forwards and backwards simultaneously while playing Abbey Road, your fucking third eye opens and you realize, you wake up and see the truth of what The Shining is actually about. So that's actually a theory.
Is it actually
I was watching a YouTube documentary about it on YouTube. It's called like
the album Abbey Road?
Yeah. And like if you listen to it, apparently there's all these connections and you see stuff if it's playing simultaneously. It's interesting, but I think they're reading into it way too much. I'll talk about it. Or maybe I won't. I keep saying I'll talk about it later, but maybe I won't.
I kind of want to try that, but like can't be fucking
Yeah, that sounds like a pain in the
sounds
ass.
yeah, honestly though.
Crazy fucking theories, I guess, is really just a testament to how polarizing this film is.
But yeah,
Still
I
being
do want to
talked
talk about.
about.
I do want to talk about the opening a bit. I think there's something interesting
Yeah,
going on
we
there.
haven't really talked about that much. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like Jack kind of it seems like he's like insane from the get-go.
But that's the thing.
I
So
never liked
And
that
in King's
idea.
book, he's like specific about it being like a descendant to insanity. Like when he's being interviewed, he's like a completely normal dude. Well, like there's something off with Jack Nicholson in like when he's being interviewed.
yeah, and that's why King didn't like it so much, because he said like, yeah, it's very important that it's a descent into madness, and if he starts out or insane or something, not insane, he's not
I
insane at the
don't.
beginning. If there's
He's
like
he's
this,
just weird.
there's
He's
like
not a
evil
normal dude.
lurking behind him, like if there's this like evil already in him, it completely defeats the purpose of it, which I think is so important to Kubrick's version of it. It's a different story. It's not
But
going for the
Kubrick,
descent
yeah.
into madness
Kubrick
from
was trying to
being
like
manipulated by the hotel. It's not. It's going for something completely different. Like that's
Yeah.
why I think it's so
I-
interesting about the beginning, because like in the book, Ullman is like a complete a complete cunt in it. He's like a real asshole, and is like talking down to Jack, and like you hear Jack's like inner monologue of just how much he fucking hates this guy, because he's like, he's always very angry, because he's like in the book he's very angry because of his recovering alcoholic, and so he's just always like pissed off, kind of in the book.
What?
And like
and he has a
pretty
bad
strong.
relationship with Ullman. Like he
That's
calls him at one point.
very-
Like
Yeah,
he's like, I'm gonna write this book about this hotel. Ullman's
Yeah,
like,
but,
fuck you.
It's interesting that you mentioned that he's a recovering alcoholic because
because that's a
Jack-
huge part of the book. That's like the whole like first part before they get to the hotel. It's just like,
And that's like a very minor part of the movie. It's like it's only alluded to it when he's like in the bar and he's like,
Yeah.
and he sees booze and he's like,
also at
I-
the beginning when Wendy is talking to the doctor who comes
Oh,
to
yeah, yeah.
see Danny because he had a little spell or whatever with the thing.
little
She
accident.
tells him, I love that. Yeah, she's telling the doctor and like trying to say it in like this nice way, like, oh, it was just an accident. He walked in, he
just
pulled his
fucking,
arm,
like-
and it's
also
and, like,
kinda
and,
relate
threw Danny
to,
against the wall. Like,
and like it's so great because in the movie you can tell that she's like playing it down, and like you don't really know if he like meant to do it or not, Jack, because like later in the film when he's talking to Lloyd, the bartender, like ghostly fucking bartender, whatever the fuck's going on there, and he's like talking about how he the thing with Danny, but like she's
I
talking
love
to
the
the
little
doctor.
son of a bitch.
I love.
Dude,
I
I
would
love-
hurt her. I wouldn't
Single
hurt
hair on
her.
his goddamn head.
Yeah,
I love that
like
line.
when
I
she's
was
talking to the
gonna
doctor.
say-
She what the fuck? Where was I going with that? She says like, oh yeah, he's it's been 5 months since he didn't drink anything. And also when they're going through the hotel, Allman says like, too bad you can't have a party here because we take all the alcohol. And Jack goes, yeah, well, that's okay because we don't drink. And like you can hear the resentment in his voice, and that's so great because like it's not overstated. It's not like obviously like he's like, oh yeah, like gritting
It's
teeth.
very
Like,
subtle.
we can't. It's very subtle, and like
Yeah.
also you
And
can
King
just
didn't
tell-
want it to be subtle. King wanted it to be like the main driving force.
That's what's so great because like at the beginning it's very subtle. Jack Nicholson's performance it's more subtle because like the whole film people say it's a bad performance because it's so over the top in parts, because it's like he has this very almost goofy, like over the top, like when he's like talking at the bar and like he's like laughing real loud and it's like and stuff. It's very over the top, and like all when he's in the hotel alone with Wendy and Danny he's like that, but at the beginning he's not. When he's talking to Ullman and like he's like, you can tell there's something off
He
about
kind
him.
of is
but
like
it's
that.
not-
Like he has that smile. Like
yeah, but he's not doing the same act as he is like when he's I don't know, it's not the same over the top thing. And I think there's something really interesting there. I think it's very distinct between the beginning or before he's left alone with Wendy and Danny at the hotel and after. I think it's very different the way he acts. I mean, it is similar, but like it's not the same over the top. Because like you can tell, like maybe it's like whether it's you say the hotel's getting to him, or like with the supernatural stuff, or if you want to say like he's the just isolation is getting to him and he's going insane, which I think is interesting because like I really do think it's different at the beginning and for the rest of the film.
There's an interesting parallel that just occurred to me between Doctor Sleep and The Shining. Okay, so The Shining, Jack walks into Ullman's office, and essentially Jack's whole story leads to his demise. Meanwhile, And I want to point out the layout in Ullman's office. Flash forward to Doctor Sleep.
Don't spoil anything for Doctor Sleep since Liam hasn't seen it.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I haven't seen like the end.
Maybe.
Like, I've read.
It.
So here's the thing: I'm currently reading the book, so I didn't want to like watch the movie, so I would see the end.
Yeah. Keep that thought until we get to the spoiler, because we will have a Doctor Sleep spoiler
a
discussion.
good portion. So as long as it's not like the very end, you should be
Okay. I just there's a parallel there that we'll get to later, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, you know what's funny in the beginning scenes with like the interview scene, which I think is great. The way it's like it's just people talking, but it's still like really really entertaining and like really I don't know what's the word. I don't know. Like you're into it. You're into what they're saying. And it's just
Engaging.
Yeah, very engaging. That's the word.
Yeah,
like,
the dialogue.
Telling him about Grady, who killed his family, and like it's interesting, like Jack's reaction to it. How it's like he's telling this whole story and it's kind of horrific, and then it cuts to Jack. He's just kind of sitting there deadpan.
Yeah, he doesn't give a single shit. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, there's something off about him. Like there is something off. He's not like he's like this good guy, kind of like he is in the book. Even though he's got a lot of issues in the book, he's not like this like wholesome guy. He's there's something off about him. And like you could almost think of like all the things he's thinking in the book about how much he hates Ullman. It's almost like you could say he's thinking that here too for some reason. I don't know. But also something interesting in the opening scenes with Ullman and I think Bill Watson is his name. It's like the guy who like walks around with him. They've changed the characters very much because in the book Ullman is a complete asshole and he's like talking down to Jack and he's got a complete like he's the greatest and like everyone's below him type of thing. And Bill Watson is like they go out of their way to make it like he's a really really loudmouth, very obnoxious. He's always
like every 3 words
and,
he says like a curse word, and like here he's very stuck up in the movie. He's like some like
busy. Yeah, like, in the movie, I don't understand why there was such a drastic change. I don't even see why the character is there because he just
I don't know why
he doesn't say anything. He just like follows him around and like.
The only reason why he would be there is to like give a fuck you to Kubrick. Like, look how I changed your character. Like he gives
like fuck you to King. You mean?
Oh, King, yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
I won't like. Okay, so a little fact about the film is that Kubrick did The Shining because Barry Lyndon commercially flopped, so he was not able to get the funds for his big passion project, which is Napoleon.
And he wanted to try horror.
On to The Shining. So, like, in a way, The Shining is a very personal piece for Kubrick. Because
all his films are very personal. I don't think any one of his films are like, just like,
I have to make this.
Yeah, but like, it's a very personal film to Kubrick, obviously, so he puts his own spin and interpretation into things.
Yeah, for sure.
And, I mean, that's why I feel it's so different in a lot of aspects from Stephen King's Shining.
Yeah, it's like they're two very. I don't really like when people compare them so much, because it's like they're very different. I think they're going for completely different things. I mean, they're based on the same premise.
Two different people telling the same story.
Exactly. I mean, it's just very. There are two separate things. You shouldn't compare the movie to the book or the book to the movie. I mean, there are comparisons to be made, and there's things to think about, like maybe why were these things changed, like. Maybe that gives a bit more insight of maybe what Kubrick was going for, or like what the film is about. But like, I don't think you should say like, the book isn't any good because it doesn't have the maze in it, or like, the movie isn't good because the hotel doesn't burn down. I guess spoilers for the book. Andy, were you going to read the book, or have you read the book?
I have not, and I don't really mind spoilers for the book.
All right, but like. That's one big thing is like the hotel burns down at the end.
Yeah, I know about that part because Doctor Sleep. I'm sorry.
What about one thing Kubrick or fucking hell? I keep messing up the two Ks. King. He really hated the way Wendy's character is in this, played by Shelley Duvall, who I think is great in it, even though she was nominated for a Razzie. What the fuck?
Controversial. Her performance because a lot of people hate it, but I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and like Kubrick said or fucking hell, King said that
it was sexist.
it's very misogynistic because
I disagree.
yeah, because it's
for
like
sure.
her character is like she's just used as like she just screams and or screams. I don't know. She's
There's
just
a quote.
upset
He said
and,
it. He's like, she's just there to like scream and be like, oh, what's that quote? I don't even know.
yeah, just like kind of like and like the weird thing is he says like, oh, in the book she's a very strong character, and it's like, I mean, I think that in the movie, her character being like at her wit's end, like basically on the verge of a mental breakdown. Like there's this great part, like I was talking about in the scene when she's talking to the doctor with Danny at the beginning. She like goes to light a cigarette and just like it's very subtle, but like her hands just like shaking. I don't know, something about it. Maybe it was actually Shelley Duvall because apparently she was like pushed to her limit and like had like a complete mental breakdown because of this. Because of how Kubrick pushed her so much.
We
But
never
like,
really go into Wendy's like background.
yeah,
I think that's good.
Who she is as a person.
I mean,
they never really go into
like,
any of their
I
backgrounds.
mean, at
too
the same
much.
time, like the book is 600 pages, and this is like a 2.5 hour movie, so they have to like cut some stuff out.
But
yeah, because they go really deep into the backstory of both characters, all the characters.
King is very descriptive in all his movies.
Yeah,
like,
in
which
the movie, we only really get backstory of Danny. It's not a lot, but Danny and Jack, and it's basically that conversation, like, oh, Jack hurt Danny during an accident when he was drunk.
Still very vague, because like I said, I think Wendy is like playing it down so much to say it so it sounds good to the doctor. It's like, wait, what's actually going on here? You know, maybe he just walked in and pulled him too hard and hurt him, but like,
we can read in between the lines. Is what.
Yeah,
that's the good part.
I think Shelley Duvall's great in it. I mean, it sucks that she was like pushed so far with Kubrick and like kind of bullied up. Like he bullied her a lot just to get her.
If you watch the actual like the documentary, like the behind the scenes, like you can actually witness like firsthand, like Kubrick is like, such a dick to her.
But like I read,
he just like humiliates her and like downplays her performance, and like it's pretty sad.
He does it to get that performance out of her.
Oh, for sure, but
it's still shitty. But
yeah, because like
I understand.
I read somewhere that it's like that the whole the way she was like abused or whatever on set was like kind of overhyped. Like it wasn't like, I know Kubrick, he pushes his actors to the limit, and like I was watching, I don't know why, but like I'm after rewatching The Shining so many times, 3 times in a week or whatever, I'm kind of getting this like fascination with Kubrick again, and like I started really getting interested in the film A Clockwork Orange. I mean, I love that film. I've only seen it like twice, but like I just really want to rewatch it. I just bought the book today, actually. I'm going to read that. But I was watching interviews with Malcolm McDowell, I think is his name. And like he was talking about how much he loves Kubrick. And like he said it's like his favorite thing ever was like working with Kubrick. And like he said he pushes everyone
actually said similar things. Sorry.
But yeah, he said like he pushes everyone to the limit, and like because he needs to get it perfect and he needs to get it the way it is. But like, I guess Malcolm McDowell is like, that works for him, He'll do that. He'll push himself to the limit to get it perfect how Kubrick wants it and to get it right. But it's like maybe, for Shelley Duvall, that didn't work and she ended up having a fucking mental breakdown, which, maybe you shouldn't push someone that
far. She did say that, like, after filming, she did admit that she, liked working with Kubrick, despite, like, all that it caused her.
Yeah. But, like, I think her performance is great. I really do. I think she's, like, her character being on, like, the verge of a mental breakdown, just, like, at her wit's end. I think it fits the character really, really well as in the novel. I mean, maybe you get a lot more of her like inner monologue, or like her inner thoughts of what's going on. Maybe it gives a different perspective in the book. But like, I think it's great in the film, and I think she's great as well. Just like
it's simply just realistic. Like, I mean, what do you want her? She's not going to go like full on like Ripley on Jack. And
like it's very different from Jack the way he's over the top, because like she's kind of like over the top with like kind of hysteria, or like in some parts the way she's like screaming and like very upset. But like Jack, he's like over the top, but like he has like this weird like kind of I don't know, it's very sinister, like a very creepy. I don't know what the fuck is the word. I can't think of the fucking word I'm thinking. I don't know. He feels insane, and she feels like she's just at a wit's end. I don't know. Someone say something.
Crustaceans. Damn, how long have we been going on The Shining alone?
About an hour.
Yeah, a little
For
more than
like
an hour, I think.
for like 2 hours.
No, it's not. It's
Nah.
it's like just a little over an hour.
I mean, it's still good though. That's like an hour and 15 minutes for one half, or like technically a third of what
Yes.
we're talking about today.
I'm still good for like several more hours of discussion. Is everyone else good, or is it getting? It's not getting too late or anything, is it?
Oh,
Nah,
I'm
I'm
fine.
chilling.
Good.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
great. Because I have a lot more to say. um, Wendy sees a furry given mad suck.
I was
So
always like the
bad.
first time I saw that, especially I was
It's like,
so
what the
fascinated
fuck?
by that scene, and it's kind of in the book as well. But in the book, it's like in a different context. Like it's like a dog. It's actually like a bear costume in the movie, in a dog costume.
Yeah, because it was the owner. The owner had like a big party. I think it was on the 4th of July.
Yeah,
And like
and he had like a furry fetish and like.
yeah, he had like his like fuck buddy guy. He was all dressed up and he was making him like do tricks and like jump for food and stuff. So it's fully explained in the book. There's nothing weird, but like in
But
the
this is
film,
different. Like
like
this is
people
not the
say it's like
same.
in the film, it's like, oh, it's a reference to the book, obviously with the dog costume. But like
I don't think so.
Kubrick's not just gonna throw in this meaningless reference. There's something there. Like people say it's like I talked about earlier, the like sexual abuse theory. It's like early on in the film when you see Danny laying on his bed talking to the doctor. There's like a bear, like I don't know if it's like a pillow or something, like behind him. And it looks similar to the dog costume, and like people say it's like that is
Hello, bear.
Wendy like realizing kind of what happened between Jack and Danny. It's like she realized that like this has been going on, this like sexual abuse or whatever.
I don't buy into that.
I don't know.
Personally.
I'm not. I think it's a very interesting theory. I don't think it's the most far out there thing ever. But like,
It's
I
definitely
don't
an
know.
interesting theory, but I don't know. I don't really.
I don't think. I mean, Jack is just in my head someone who was struggling already mentally, and he was struggling with alcoholism. And the hotel essentially pushed him over the edge. I don't think Jack was inherently evil from the get-go.
Not evil, but he was. Actually, since it's Kubrick, it wouldn't surprise me if he was, but
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
was. I think he was good in the film. I think Kubrick did not like intend for Jack to come across as deranged from the get-go.
I think.
I think I really like I said earlier. I don't think Kubrick is doing the like the external evil is affecting the characters. I really do think it's throughout his filmography. It's more about the people and like the like. I know Kubrick has said. I'm not sure how true this is, but like I know he talked about King about like um just saying stuff like how he doesn't believe in like the afterlife. Like King said, like that defeats the purpose of the book, or like stuff like that. And like I really don't think that Kubrick would be making a film about maybe it's not ghosts, maybe it's a hotel, or this evil or whatever. This external evil affecting the characters. I think that it would make way more sense for it to be Jack. It's like the hotel or the isolation, or whether you want to say it's the hotel bringing this out in him, or it's just isolation itself. Bringing out this evil in him to do these things. I think that makes more sense for a Kubrick film. I don't think it's just like he's a good person.
I didn't mean it like as one thing is the reason. I mean like it was a culmination of everything that made Jack.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Do what he did, not just he wasn't deranged from the get-go, and he wasn't purely good in the hotel turned him evil. I think bad influences essentially
The
took
hotel
over him.
used something within him
Because he
like.
wasn't doing any work, he was just slacking off. So I guess if he's slacking off, he gets to drinking, he gets way up into his thoughts because he has no one to talk to, and yada yada.
Do you guys think that the all work, like when Wendy stumbles upon like the all work and no play, like all the papers that say that was what he was like typing since the beginning?
Yeah, that's
'Cause that
one thing
could-
I was going to point out actually.
That's what like that could argue that like he was insane from like he since he arrived, or if he just like had started typing all those pages recently. But if
Yeah,
he
like
was like, because he's typing for a while, but if that's all he's been writing, then it poses an interesting question.
like when early on when Wendy comes in to talk to him, which I think is a great scene. It's very I don't know. He's being like such an asshole to Wendy. He's like, when I'm here, I'm working. You should get the fuck out of here, or whatever he's saying.
Yeah.
And like he's typing, and she says like, "Oh, can I read it?" And like he like pulls it away, and it's like, was that everything he was typing? Because like that gives like a lot of.
That was already a
And that would be super
wasn't
fucking
it?
creepy.
Yeah, because like if that was what he was typing the whole time, that means like he's basically insane from the beginning. But like when it does that, it is a month into it, and like I said, I think it's very distinct. And I think it was a purposeful choice by Kubrick or whoever the fuck for Jack to not have the same over the top feel to him at the beginning as he does. Like I said, when he says the thing about we don't drink, it's very subtle. Nothing about the rest of the film, anything he does is subtle. It's very all over the top. People have compared it to like Jim Carrey. There's even a deep fake of Jim Carrey as like deep fake onto Jack's face, which is really fucking like creepy. And like the way he says everything, and like everything he does is very over the top, especially like in the bar scene when he's like you said, like the I love the little son of a bitch and like all that. And like
I love those lines, man. They crack me up.
And like white man's burden, Lloyd. White man's burden. Like it's all very over the top. But
I got 2 20s in my.
Yeah, I have 2 20s and 2 Chris 10s or whatever the fuck. Yeah, and that's such a quotable scene. Can we just appreciate that? And like, I'd sell my soul for a goddamn glass of beer, or whatever he said. And yeah, it's like, that's a great scene. People also say that it's like that scene. He like sold his soul.
What?
He sold his soul for a glass of beer because he says that. But
Some
it's like
theories, man.
That's what. So in the book, back to the book. There's a scene when he goes and he's like at his lowest point, and the guy, I think it's Lloyd. He says like, "Oh, here's a drink," and like there's a whole like ballroom full of people. They're all like looking at him and saying like, "Drink it," and then he does, and it's like after that point, it's kind of all downhill. Like that was the like last straw that like he becomes basically possessed in the book. I won't go too deep into the book there, but like I don't think that's what it was in the movie. They use the same scene, but I think it's going for something different. But like, yeah, I don't think Jack.
I guess you could argue from that point, like it was the alcoholism that took over.
Yeah, but like I don't think he actually physically drank anything in the film because like there wasn't any alcohol there unless he brought it or whatever. But like, yeah,
I just assumed he poured it himself. That's always been my headcanon.
There's no glass there when Wendy comes up.
Like it's like imaginary.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because like when Wendy comes up, she runs up and it's like, Danny's a woman. And he's like, oh, I love that. I love that line when he's just like talking to an imaginary bartender or like a ghost bartender, and like Wendy runs up and says that, and he's like, "Have you lost your fucking mind?" Or like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" Or something like that. That's just so. It's kind of funny to me because it's like, I don't know. He's just anyway. Yeah, there's not glass there. Lloyd's gone. There's not.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it would be. It does cut 1 month or jumps 1 month after they move in and stuff, and the first time you see him typing, it is after a month. So you could say when he started writing the book, he started, at some point when he started losing it because of the cabin fever, as Ullman described it. That could be it, or if like he was writing it from the start. I don't think he was completely insane from the start. Like by the time he is at the end of the film when he's chasing Danny and he's like yelling incoherently. Yeah, I don't think that would make sense if he was like completely insane as he is for the rest of the film at the beginning. And
but it started during that like time jump.
Yeah, and like there's that weird part when he's like, "Oh, I feel like I've always been," or like, "I feel like I've been here before. I knew it's around every corner." It's like I've had deja vu, but this is ridiculous. Like that's
and
creepy.
It ties back into the photograph.
Yeah, and Grady saying, "You've always been here." So I think that's pretty creepy, and that also ties into the theory that it's like part of him is like there, and like the other part of him has to like kind of decide if he's gonna stay there or not.
Yeah, like part of him has always been there.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
I'm not sure what else there is to talk about.
I have some.
I feel like there's so much to talk about The Shining.
I mean,
we're just like glossing the surface,
like...
but I just can't think of like.
But like, we're really not here. At least I'm not thinking that we're gonna do like a deep like analysis. A lot of these films. I mean, I have a hard time like oh, I'm gonna dig to the core of it and find the meaning. Same in the last in the last episode where we talked about possession. Like, I'm not trying to dig deep into what it means. I'm just kind of giving my thoughts on it, because like I don't have a very clear interpretation of it, at least at this point, anyway. I do have a bunch of little notes here. I'll just go through them real quick. If anyone else has anything else to say.
Let me think. There's
The bloody elephant. What?
Oh, I never mentioned the infamous blood elevator shot is my favorite shot in the movie.
It's definitely super iconic.
One of my favorite shots of all time, really.
Along with like the two little girls, it's definitely the most iconic shot in the film.
And
it's interesting how actually they like made the shot, and there's like a brief little shot in the behind the scenes where like they're cleaning up the blood. And,
they're
mopping
it up.
Yeah, it's funny.
Because like apparently like they did that shot and it took them like months to set up. And then Kubrick
said
like
a year to finally get.
And like Kubrick said like, oh, the blood doesn't look real enough, and like it looks real. I mean, it kind of looks like cranberry juice, but like it looks like really good when it comes out of the elevator. Like it's just like great. It's very like that like image is just like burned into your mind. That's one of the classic things, like that, the red rum, the little girls, the Here's Johnny. Like those are all like iconic like pop culture references to The Shining. That's like everywhere.
I just love
even if you haven't seen it, you know it for sure.
Yeah.
Blood is in the scene. It's like a literal fucking just flood of blood.
Yeah.
There's
like people
so
say
much.
that's like a metaphor so cool. For the Native American slaughter that happened. Or that's like a metaphor for the Holocaust, but I don't really know.
No,
I really feel like it's more about like this is all the blood that's been shed in this hotel.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool how like the blood kind of like goes over the camera.
Yeah, I love that. Like the chairs are like floating.
Oh yeah,
that was a nice little Kubrick was cool to reference Ready Player One there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's kind of stealing Steven Spielberg's shot, but
totally.
I'm not gonna.
Steven Spielberg actually said he like didn't like Jack Nicholson's performance the first time he saw the movie, but then
like he like went to Kubrick's house and was eating dinner, and like Kubrick asked if he liked it, and he was like, nah, bro.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, And
then apparently now it's like his favorite. It's like one of his favorite films. That's what
your
Spielberg
movie's kind
said.
of shit. Yeah, he paid homage to it in his movies. So.
Steven Spielberg was like with everybody back then. He was homies with everyone. That guy's got to be really cool.
He's one of the biggest names in the industry. So
I guess he's got to be fucking likable as fuck if he's homies with like Kubrick.
I mean,
he seems like a nice guy.
Like he seems nice. He also kind of seems like a dick in other parts. Like it depends.
He's kind of shady because of the whole fucking Twilight Zone movie stuff. In my opinion.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Fucking,
I don't know.
I forget his name. Vic Morrow, the actor, died on the set of Twilight Zone.
Oh, is that the guy like walked into a helicopter or something?
Yeah, he didn't walk into it. It was like the fucking helicopter crashed, and he was fucking carrying a little. I think it was a female. I don't remember if it was girls or little boys or not. Anyways, this fucking helicopter went down into the water and decapitated him and a child at the same time.
Oh, damn. That is fucked up.
And Steven Spielberg was involved with it because that was like his movie at the time, or his project, but it was what's his fucking name? American Werewolf in London guy. His fucking son's screenwriter.
I'll look it up.
But the fucking
John Landis?
Huh?
John Landis?
Yeah, John Landis. Fucking Landis. But anyways, we're off subject now.
But
yes, very off subject.
Like on-set like tragedies, like recently with Alec Baldwin.
Oh, that is horrible.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
It's fucked up.
Poor Alec.
You think they learn? I mean, there's like this is very off topic, but like, how the fuck was there a live round in the how did that get there?
I heard it was just a lot of like unprofessionalism between with the crew, between like the gun people and like the like assistant director or something. I don't know. I'm not gonna say too much because I don't really know the full story. I don't want to be spreading
Apparently
misinformation.
it was very tense on set, but I just don't understand how like a round can get the prop gun. Okay.
Fucked
anyway.
up. Anyway, there's a early on when Ullman's showing around the hotel, they see girls and like two similar looking girls walk by. Those like the twin girls who only grown up. I don't know.
I've never noticed that.
Yeah, there's like two girls. I mean, they don't look. They're not identical, but like, what the fuck? They're like similar looking. And, like,
dude, what the fuck?
What are you inside of a fish tank? What happened?
Your audio, bro.
Bruh, say something.
Is my audio okay?
It's okay now. For a second, it sounded like you're inside the Mariner Trench.
It sounded sussy for a second there.
Sissy buck. Anyway, yeah, there's a point when fucking Ullman is showing them. They're like going into the like their like living quarters, like the bedroom and stuff. And he says like, "Oh, bye, girls." And like two girls walk by, and like they're similar looking.
Oh,
like, people say like, "Oh, is that the
didn't...
twins grown up?" Well, it's like also Ullman says earlier when he says, "Oh, Grady killed his two kids. They're around 8 and 10." It's like, but then Danny sees twins. I'm not sure if at any other point they describe Grady's kids as twins, or if that's just something Danny's seeing. Because like that would give it a very different thing to it. Like if that's just in his mind and he's imagining them as twins. Because like maybe he just heard that happened and like he didn't know the specifics. I don't really know, but that's a bit interesting.
I never thought about that.
That is interesting. I actually did notice that like the twin.
Let's see. What other notes do I have here? It's immaculately shot. Yes, I've already said that.
It do be immaculately shot though.
I think The Shining is one of the few films that actually uses nudity to its advantage.
Is there really any more nudity other than like the bathroom scene, like the bathtub scene?
And the scene when Jack Nicholson pulls out his dick and just masturbates for 10 minutes straight
into
the camera.
Love that scene. And there's like a 3D cum shot, like in Enter the Void. Yeah, Love.
No, Love's the one with the 3D one. I don't think Enter the Void has a 3D cum shot.
No. Enter the Void is like the penetration scene is.
Yeah. Oh, we need to talk. All right, dude, I think. All right, Andy, I have a very strong feeling that you're going to give Enter the Void a 10 out of 10. I think you'll love
for
that
sure,
film.
for sure. And it's a very big. It's a stoner movie.
It's an Andy movie, is what you're saying.
It's top.
Precisely.
I think you're gonna love it. I wanna just real quick. I've talked about it before, but like when Gaspar Noé's Vortex comes out, whenever that is, and whenever Liam, you're like you love Gaspar Noé, so you probably want to talk about Noé if we ever talk. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Whenever we're all of it, when we can all see Vortex, I'm not sure when that is because like Lux Eterna.
Probably next year. I think that is.
Yeah, next year. It says it's 2021. You know, it's premiering at Cannes Film Festival. It's probably like sometime in 2022.
Yeah, but it's mainstream release.
When we're all available to see it, when it's available for all of us to see it, I really want to do every Gaspar Noé film. I'm planning on doing that. Like, I really want to do that. Like, would both of you be like down to do that? Because like, sure. I love Gaspar Noé. I love all of his films. I would have like a lot to say.
Single Gaspar Noé.
You saw Climax, didn't you?
No. Wait.
Did you see Irreversible?
No.
I feel like Climax and Enter the Void are definitely Andy movies. I don't know about the rest.
Yeah, I don't know about like I Stand Alone. That's a bit more.
No, that's like French New Extremity. That's more like I don't know. But you know what's
interesting about I Stand Alone is like it kind of has a Godard film because maybe it's not Godardish. Maybe I'm just saying that because I'm ignorant about French New Wave. But like it's got the editing style that feels like French New Wave.
Yeah, like the jump cuts and things like that.
Yeah, it's like French New Wave Extremity. It's very interesting.
That's something I've wanted to like see. Yeah, how the fuck were we?
So we are so far the fuck off topic.
Dude, this always happens. Like it's a Shining discussion. We're talking about Gaspar Noé and Jean-Luc Godard. Like how the fuck?
Anyway, nudity was used very well in this film.
Nudity.
Yeah.
There's not like
continue to say like not a lot. In my opinion, not a lot of movies. There's not a necessity for titties.
I think it's only the bathroom scene.
Movie.
Yeah. That's
and also when you see Dick Halloran's apartment and you see like the lady with
yeah,
a huge
that's a
fucking afro
painting,
over
though.
his TV.
Yeah, he has good
That
taste.
wasn't a painting. That was an image, I think. I don't think it was a painting.
Jake Halloran is one horny motherfucker.
I swear
Yeah.
it was like a realistic painting, but I
He's
mean,
a horny boy.
it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like.
I mean, why do you think it's
Wait, what?
I did not. I zoned out.
Sorry.
What?
All right. I have one more note, and then we'll give our like final thoughts on it.
I'm confused.
Sorry, we're joking around. When there's so I own the 4K Blu-ray of this, and I really enjoy watching it in 4K. I mean, it's not a huge leap from the normal Blu-ray. I mean, it looks really good. It's good release, but like 3/4 of the way through the film, it just stopped. Just right around when the great scene when Wendy finds the looking at Jack's typing, so the all work no play makes Jack a dull boy. And then he comes up, and like that scene, it just pauses halfway through it. It's like fuck, because I fucking love that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes, my very many favorite scenes of this film.
Is that like in all the Blu-rays? Because I have the 4K Blu-ray as well.
Yeah, I got the 4K. It's like fuck.
I haven't watched it on there
Blu-ray.
yet.
And then I rewatched it later, and like it worked fine all the way through. So I don't know if it was just like my player was fucked up or something, but like there wasn't like a scratch on the disc. I don't know. But yeah,
Dun, dun,
It's
dun.
very sussy.
Sussy Bunka. But I really like that scene. That's a great scene. Can we just like go through and like talk about like every great scene in this for like 45 minutes each?
Let's just like analyze like shot for shot this movie. Let's just do a shot for shot analysis of the Shining.
I love the
It's gonna be like 12 hours long.
Yeah. I love when he's like he's coming towards her and he's like kind of mocking her with like saying, "Oh, do you think you need to take Danny to a doctor or whatever?" And then you know,
and then there's the iconic line, "I'm not gonna kill you."
Yeah.
Wendy,
you know what?
Darling, light of my life. It's fucking.
Oh, I love his delivery there.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash your
great
brains.
actor.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna clip the audio from that and put it in here just for the epic sake.
Please! Don't hurt me!
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay away from me!
Wendy,
Stay away!
darling, light of my life. I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash them right the fuck in.
Stay away from me!
Because I bought an app where I can like grab audio from stuff, so I'm gonna start implementing that into the podcast.
Fancy.
Also, just I love the scene. I talked about it a little bit earlier. Danny writes red rum on the door with lipstick.
Yes.
Then Wendy sees it in the mirror, and then it just pops off because, like, you know.
Oh wait.
Hmm?
Oh, it reminded me of a
Yeah.
fucking scene when Wendy is taking the tray to Jack and he's sleeping. You see like Wendy, but it's a mirror shot. So like he's panning out, the camera's panning out.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed to be it's a mirror shot. That shot is just.
Oh, I love that shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
pan
great.
out. The zooms in this movie, like sometimes, like I don't like zooms in movies because they feel like dated, but like the zooming in this film feels very like great. The only thing I kind of don't like in the editing is like the constant crossfading, which just kind of gets annoying after. But it's
also, in my opinion, very underrated shot. The shot when Jack he closes the door to room 237 and like the hallway lights are off. So like lighting's just perfect so you can like see his silhouette on the ground. And it's an absolutely fantastical shot.
Yeah.
I also like the shot where like it's entering room 237. You see the key like on the door, and it's like it pans inside the room. Like it doesn't look like a movie shot. Like it looks like some sort of like a commercial. I don't know.
It's almost like a POV of Jack walking into the room. It like pans over the bed and then walks into the
POV.
bathroom.
You're Jack.
Yeah. Also, speaking of the zoom-ins, I love when Danny he's in like the rec room and he's like throwing darts, and then it just zooms in and like you see him he's looking at something and he's looking at the twin girls. I love that, and I love when Wendy's running around the hotel at the end looking for Danny, and she sees like the furry giving head or whatever, and then it'll like zoom in, like you see like this thing in the bedroom, and then it just zooms into, and you like see him looking at you. Same with like you see when Jack kills Dick after he comes in, which is in the book he doesn't die, so that's he kills Dick, and then Wendy sees his body, and it zooms in. You hear the music, like they do that same thing like 3 times, because first she sees the bear, or the furry, and then she sees the
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Dick's body, and then she sees the bloody elevator and the and the skeletons in the ballroom. Like they do that like 4 times, and you keep hearing the music, but like it's still effective like every time. Like
The
it's not like
skeletons in the ballroom's pretty fucking sick. But
I don't know
anyways,
what the fuck that means though. I don't know why the fuck they'd be.
Because it's like it's all the people from like
from
the
like
20s.
the party.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's all I can think of.
it's almost
and
like
also
kind of
the guy who's,
goofy,
like-
but
Yeah, that feels a bit dated, like the skeletons, but I don't know.
it's a bit
Not that
goofy,
bad.
but I like it. Go on.
Also, they also have the thing when the guy walks up with like his head split open, and it goes like "Great party."
Great parties.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Come
For
on,
the
hey,
world.
brother.
Tuesday.
But anyway, what I was saying, I love when it pops off or just shit goes down. Wendy sees murder in the mirror. Then I think it's right after that. It just cuts to Jack just crushing the door or just chopping the door in with the axe. And, like Wendy's like screaming. She runs to the bathroom, and it's just like I love the way the camera pans back and forth when Jack is cutting the door.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. It's like it follows him like bringing.
It follows
the
the
axe back
trajectory
going
of the
into it.
axe, basically.
I love that. I love that so
That's
much.
cool.
Then obviously like iconic, which is like one of the most iconic things in any film ever. The "Here's Johnny,"
And that's not in the book either, which is
no, that was Jack Nicholson like improvised it. That's another one to
Yeah.
throw on the list of great improvised lines, which we always say that in films.
it was a
This is
reference to like a
something
game show or something.
Yeah, and like apparently
About-
Kubrick didn't know what that was because he's like, is he British? He's
Yeah, and you wanted to
British,
cut
ain't
it
he?
out.
No, I think Kubrick isn't British, but
Well,
I think
Kubrick
he
is
lived in England,
American, but he lived in England for a while.
and he did
That's
not
it,
like
yeah.
flying.
And like he didn't get the reference, I think, and like he almost cut it out or something because like he didn't really get what that was with the "Here's Johnny," but yeah, then the whole thing when he's cutting the door down. It was great watching it with my sister because like she'd never seen it before, and she was like, I think she thought that Jack was gonna kill him, so she was like really on that whole scene. It's like it's just great watching it with someone for the first time, and like she really loved it. Like she's never even seen horror movies before, so
The way the
that's
camera
great.
is
I mean,
positioned also, right before the
Oh.
"Here's Johnny," it's like the axe is like right in front of the camera, and it's
yeah,
like a
he's like
3D shot.
he's like cutting
almost.
it. Yeah, he's like
Really?
cutting it in, and you see
Yeah,
Wendy just
when-
like screaming, and then she cuts his hand and stuff, and like you see like the door getting cut in. And, like Jack Nicholson, he actually cut the door down like that because apparently he was like a
Retired. He
Well,
did
at
some
first they had, like, a
volunteer
fireman,
fire department.
and,
Yeah,
like
he's like
he
a
cut the
volunteer
fake door
fireman.
down like too easy or something. But
Yeah,
like
so they
that's
gave him a real door.
it's just it's such a great scene. So it's very tense. That's especially seeing it for the first time. Like when I saw it in the theater, it was like when like she's trying to get out the window and she can't.
Oh, that was
and
so
then-
tense the first time I saw it.
Yeah,
That
and
was
like she
so
gets Danny out, and like, that's just, I love that. Then the whole part when he's chasing, he kills Dick, and then he runs out, and like, he's like chasing Danny. He's like Danny
Yeah.
boy or whatever. And he's like
come
running
take
through-
your medicine. Well, no, that's in
Yeah.
the book actually.
That's actually something I want to mention about Doctor Sleep. Actually, I don't want to. Fuck, I don't want to spoil anything about Doctor Sleep for you, Liam.
You want me to meet you in a second if you want.
All right, can
This
you
is why it's like-
mute?
I will turn your volume to 0,
Yeah,
and then you can
don't
tell
leave
me
the
in
call
chat.
because that'll fuck up the recording.
Yeah, just tell me in chat when you're like.
All right.
done.
Andy. So in the book, it's a reoccurring thing. Danny sees visions of this like monster, or like he doesn't know what it is. This thing chasing him through the hallways of the Overlook Hotel, yelling, "Come and take your medicine! I'm going to make you take your medicine." And it turns out, it's Jack, because that was something that his father. They went deep into this whole story about like how Jack's father was really abusive, drunk as well. And he said that like to his mother or something. Anyway, and he doesn't say take your medicine in the movie, in The Shining. But then in Doctor Sleep, spoilers for Doctor Sleep, when Dan goes to the hotel, he goes to the bar. They recreate a lot of the shots in
The Shining.
Yeah, from The Shining. We'll discuss that whole thing. I have a lot of thoughts on that film as well. But he sits down. He's talking instead of Lloyd. It's Jack, and like he's talking and he's saying something. He like pours the drink and he's trying to get Dan to drink it. And he says, "Now take your medicine." And he steps it down because like he says like this is medicine. And they really work that line in, and it's not cringy. Like it could just be like this cringy reference to the book where he like says it and it doesn't really mean anything. But the way they implemented that into that scene with like the ghost of Jack, apparently, the way he says it as a reference to the book, I just really like that. I don't know. Maybe I should be talking about this during the Dr. Sleep discussion, but I don't know. Just want to bring it up real quick. Shit, we've been talking for over an hour and a half. I think we should maybe wrap the Shining discussion up. I don't think I have. I mean, I'm sure I can go on and on. There's a lot in this film. Liam, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. Let's see. That's about it. I gotta say for it for now. I mean, I really could talk about this film for hours. I love it. Yeah, it's so good. I mean, I fucking love Kubrick. Like people say, I can't believe people actually say Kubrick is like a film bro director. It's like, how can you not see just the craft of his films?
I mean, his films are popular, so I mean,
yeah, they're
it's kind of
popular
like
because they're fucking great.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like there's so much to them. They're not just like, oh, they look cool and it's all style over substance, or like, it's there's so much to Kubrick. He really is one of the greatest directors ever. I really think he is.
I don't want to say it doesn't make sense that they like call him like film bro or anything, because like these same people will probably praise Denis Villeneuve or fucking however we pronounce his name. Villeneuve. Yeah, but it's probably same type to fucking praise him. I mean, rightfully so, and then call Kubrick a film bro.
Dude, facts.
Just dumb.
Yeah, they say like there's like certain directors in films that are like, I mean, it doesn't matter what anyone likes. Anyone can like whatever the fuck they want. And it doesn't matter. People who say like, "Oh, you like film bro movies," they're just fucking idiots. They're probably just insecure about their own taste.
Honestly,
like
it's kind of like, what is film bro? Like, is it like
Kubrick,
popular
Tarantino,
film?
David Fincher? I mean, those people who say like, all right, if you were to say my top 4 favorite films, or Martin Scorsese's too, are like Pulp Fiction, Fight Club, Taxi Driver, and The Shining. People who say like, oh, you're a fucking film bro, or oh, and Inception. It's like these are all great films in their own right, and they're not just this stupid like surface level thing that's being condemned for being a film bro for, because it's like they are great films, and like what the fuck am I talking about? Who gives a shit about people who call other people film bros?
It's like basically like they have a bias against recent films that are good for some
or like
reason.
Popular films. There's so many popular films that's like, oh, you just watch people just get so up their own asses about how
people
they watch.
Just try to watch like indie films just for the sake of watching indie films.
Yeah, I watched Satan Tango, and I'm a true cinephile. I watched good shit. I watched true cinema.
I watch what I watch.
There was fucking nothing special about watching movies. Literally anyone on Earth. I mean, maybe unless you can't find films, but like anyone on Earth can sit down and watch thousands of films and thousands of art house films. That doesn't mean anything. There's nothing there that makes you special. It's what
there's
you get
something special about watching the movies that you want to watch, because then it really means something to you, and you're not watching something to like prove yourself to other people. Yeah,
it's like people who like think like, all right, I'm gonna watch what the fuck is that long? It's like a month-long film. Logistics. I'm gonna watch Logistics, and I'm gonna talk about the artistic merit of watching a boat go across the ocean for a month straight. It's like you could do that, but it's like, like people.
But why?
Yeah, it's like if you watch a film, if you watch like Satan Tango. I mean, I love that film, but I'm not gonna go parading it around like I'm some kind of fucking. I watch Bellatar. If you don't watch Bellatar, you're not a real cinephile. It's like people watch this stuff and they think there's some kind of like. They're watching true art, and everyone else who doesn't like that, they're just fucking normies or whatever. And it's just so stupid. And like I see that a lot in like film discussion communities and stuff. Just how I don't know what's the word, gatekeeping. I'm not sure if that's it. Just how people get so up their own asses with their great taste in movies and like putting other people's taste down. It's so stupid. And it's just like, anyone can watch anything. It's just what you get out of it and what it's like. yeah. What the? Why am I going on and on? Why did I get salty about Film Bros all of a sudden? What the?
Because
what the fuck?
they're, they deserve it.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
no,
fuck 'em.
film bros don't deserve it. I think people that call other people film bros. Like,
I'm not
anyway,
saying
I'm
I'm
fucking
not
tired.
saying the stereotypical film bro who thinks Fight Club is like just the coolest shit ever and goes around like I like real cinema. I like underground shit like Pulp Fiction.
At the
those
same
people
time,
are
though,
annoying.
seeing top 10 movies where like the top 4 is like The Dark Knight and The Wolf of Wall Street and like fucking Pulp Fiction and Fight Club. It's kind of fun to like make fun of, but like in a jokey way, not like in a douchebag. Like I'm better than you way. You know?
Exactly what I'm thinking is like, if you take those films and take them all separately, like, my favorite film is Taxi Driver. That's a stereotypical film bro movie. It's like, but if you take any one of those film bro movies and like, break it down as like what it is as a film, there's like a lot to them. If you take like,
for sure,
Pulp Fiction or like whether it's like even like The Dark Knight or like Inception, it's like maybe so many of those films that are like considered film bro stuff. They are great films. If you take one of them separately and put it on a top 10 list, nobody's going to call you a film bro. But if you put them together, it's like, oh, it's just this cringy stereotype. And like, yeah, there are people who think they're like, they have like supreme movie taste because they watch like, a classic like Fight Club or Pulp Fiction. But like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's more about the people than like what your favorite movie is. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's about how you like treat your movie watching. Like, and it's the same for the people that watch like incredibly underground shit. Like they're become annoying after. Look at me! I watched this like experimental short film. Like, okay, good for you.
But like, if you do nothing but watch month-long experimental short films where like nothing happens, and you get a lot out of that,
month-long experimental short films
of like a black.
I don't think a month is very short.
I kind of want to shout out the book Ant Kind because I'm not even going to go into that. Never mind. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. But like, if all you do is watch logistics over and over, and that's your favorite thing ever, or if all you do is watch Marvel movies, I don't care. It doesn't matter what your taste in movies is. It's what you're getting out of it. And like, maybe you might say like, oh, if you just watch popular movies, there's other movies you might like, but it's not about like saying I have good taste or my opinions are right. It's just so stupid how people act. And it's not like, it bugs me how people feel, people get so stupid about like their opinions and I think they're right or whatever, or like they're like, because it's like, if you just like art house film. All right, I'm gonna cut some of this out. We're going on and on.
We are, dude.
All right, let's give our final thoughts on the shinning.
On the shinning. Yeah, I mean,
I fucking hate when they
like I
spell
said,
it with 2 N's. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, like The Shining is my favorite. One of my favorite movies. Probably my favorite horror movie. And it's like
Interesting.
one of the only movies to like ever really fucking scare me. Like,
yeah, it is like, yeah, like I said before, like I think if you read the film as just more of a family going insane together, which I think someone said that at one point. But there's like enough ambiguity to read it as a more faithful adaptation of the book about a man being like manipulated by evil forces or whatever.
And actually, like I didn't say this, but like The Shining was kind of like a gateway for me into film because when I saw it, I wasn't actually like that into movies. Like I hadn't seen that many movies, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is pretty lit. I should watch more of these."
Yeah,
I don't remember what my first Kubrick was. Oh wait, I do. It was fucking A Clockwork Orange.
Total. That's an interesting first Kubrick.
I didn't choose the movie. It was the girl I was dating at the time. She chose the movie. For some fucking reason.
She got kino taste.
I know, right?
You should have kept her, man.
No.
Yeah, actually, my first Kubrick. This was my first Kubrick seeing it in the theater. I started watching Clockwork Orange on Netflix at one point on my phone.
Yeah, that's where we watched it.
What? Okay, yeah.
Clockwork Orange on your phone.
Okay, I'm glad you didn't keep her.
Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure this was my first Kubrick. Seeing this in the theater, which is awesome.
It was my first as well. And then I watched. I don't know what I watched after that. I think it was A Clockwork Orange. Was my second one. Or Doctor. No, actually, it was Doctor Strangelove.
Anyway, I think that Kubrick, or the way he plays around with stuff in this film, whether it's, no matter how you read it, but I think it's more of the insanity element of it and the more like human, like a darker side of human nature. I know Kubrick's talked about that's a big part of like what he goes for in his films. I think that's what really makes it scary, because like I don't think there's a clear way. I mean, maybe there is a clear way to look at it, but I'm just not seeing it right. It's like I said, it's similar to Possession in a way, how it's like there's many ways to interpret it without an obvious answer. But I think that's why it's so scary, and I think it's really effective, and I think it's just really is one of the greatest horror films ever made, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's too. But like, just like the performances and the music and the way it's shot, and like the story and all the levels to it, and like just the whole like eerie tone of it. Kind of, I really love it. I'd give it a 10 out of 10.
It's a fantastic movie. I also give it 10 out of 10.
It's probably my second or third favorite Kubrick. I know my favorite is Eyes Wide Shut.
That's my favorite as well. It's my second favorite.
I need to revisit that movie because I really fucking liked it when I first saw it. But like as of right now,
Eyes Wide Shut is like it's an otherworldly experience. Like
I really think that is like truly like maybe like top 10 or like top 5 like greatest films ever made. It's like, so I have like my favorite films. Like if I have a list on Letterboxd, I'll have like my favorite films. I'll have my favorites, then I'll have like what I think is like the greatest films ever made. And like I really do think Eyes Wide Shut is up there. I mean,
Eyes Wide Shut is like the pinnacle of where Kubrick was at.
Exactly. Like I know he talked about like transcending like
it's like all his films
normal
led
media.
up to it.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like all of his films have pieces of, or like Eyes Wide Shut have pieces of all his films in it. It's like his magnum opus. I love that film. But like also, it's been a while since I've seen 2001. That might be my second favorite, and The Shining might be my third favorite, and then Clockwork Orange, and then so on and so on. But I'm not sure about 2001. I'll have to rewatch it because like that's another 10 out of 10 for me. I fucking love that movie. But like I'll have to rewatch that to see where it is compared to The Shining. But yeah, this is probably. I would probably say it's my second favorite horror movie. I still think I like Possession slightly more. But yeah, this is I love this film.
It's in my top 10, maybe top 5.
Damn, I just realized I have a page of trivia. Fuck. I'm just gonna burn through these real quick. Robin Williams was considered for the role of Jack. That would be
what the fuck? That would have. Oh my god, dude! I can imagine. That. Oh my god, no! I don't want to imagine that.
No disrespect to Robin Williams.
He's a great actor, but like no.
But no.
Then the outtakes of the opening panorama shots from were later used by Ridley Scott to the closing moment of the what?
What the fuck?
Of what?
Right, the outtakes of the opening shots were used by Ridley Scott for the closing moments of the original cut of the film Blade Runner. I talked about this with Arthur in our Blade Runner discussion because he watched the film that's the original cut of it, where there's a really like weird happy ending, and like he said something in that he said like, oh, it looks like they're driving through Colorado or something like that. I wish he was here so I could kind of joke about that, but yeah, they used that in Blade Runner, which is fucking weird. I haven't seen that cut of Blade Runner yet, but also Kubrick screened Eraserhead to the cast and crew to convey the mood he wanted to achieve for the film. Also Rosemary's Baby, so that's interesting.
Yeah, David Lynch.
Those are like two very other films that are also very atmospheric and eerie.
I still haven't seen Eraserhead.
What?
I haven't seen Rosemary's Baby, but I've seen Eraserhead.
What?
Yeah,
I need to give Rosemary's Baby. I need to rewatch that. I own the out of print Criterion.
It gets better on rewatch. I didn't care
looks
for it.
Really good. I have to watch that. And like the other two Polanski horror movies.
I didn't care for Rosemary's Baby at all when I first watched it. Then I saw it again, like just as it came on TV, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this film's fucking good."
Yeah, I watched it like a year ago, and I didn't love it, and I really not felt bad because like who gives a fuck about what other people think, but like I really kind of felt like, damn, I can't believe I don't like Rosemary's Baby because it's like such a classic. But like, I think I might rewatch it this week because I'm rewatching a lot of my favorite horror movies. I think I'm gonna rewatch it this week sometime because I own the out of print Criterion that recently went out of print. So that's like, I'm glad to have that because it's a pretty good release of it. I'm gonna give it another shot. Like Roman Polanski films, say what you will about him as a person, but his films, like, I've noticed that the ones I've seen on first watch, I don't really connect with them. And then after I rewatch them, like Chinatown, like the first time I saw it, I was like, man, pretty good noir film. Then like on rewatch, it's like, holy shit, this is like really, really good. Like I loved it, and like I think same will go for Rosemary's Baby and The Tenant as well, which is a very interesting film.
The Tenet has some great cinematography, but we should probably move on.
Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is after we're done talking about some of the Shining stuff, I want to talk about the book, the miniseries, and Room 237 documentary. I don't have too much to say about those, but like we'll talk about it a little bit, and then we'll maybe end this recording and start another one for Dr. Sleep, because we'll be going on 2 hours, and I don't want to do like a episode that's like 3 hours long. I want to cut it in 2 parts. We'll do like part 1, talk about The Shining, and then part 2, and talk about Dr. Sleep. Kind of like we did with the Hellraiser episode. So I'm editing this, and I realized that I forgot to do an outro since I'm cutting it into 3 parts. So I'm just gonna throw like a quote or something in here.
That's swell. I like you, Lloyd. I always liked you. You were always the best of them. Best goddamn bartender from Timbuktu to Portland, Maine. Or Portland, Oregon, for that matter.